there, my name is HW, and thank you so much for watching Tone Junkie TV. Today we are talking about, can the Kemper capture pedals? Can it capture pedals? We want to know because there's a lot of people, myself, Michael Britt, all sorts of other guys who are capturing tones of pedals into an amplifier. And we know that the Kemper can capture amplifiers, but how does it do when you've got a big fat honking gain pedal right in the front? Well, I think it does pretty good, and I'm going to show you that. Before we get started, this pedal right here, this profile right here, is one of my favorites, and to me it illustrates why I love pedals and why I love pedal tones. If you're thinking, HW, there's so many tube amps, why wouldn't you just play all the amps that you can have in the Kemper? Why do you need to worry about pedals? Pedals impart a certain sound and a certain compression and gain, just a character that you just don't get out of tubes. In an effort to create a transistor circuit that emulates tubes, they invented something that was sort of equally as cool in its own right. What I love about pedals is something like this. When I try to clean up a dirty profile of a pedal or a dirty pedal itself, it's extra compressed, it's extra mid-rangey, it's just extra juicy. It just jumps off the pedal, the fretboard. When I go to my neck pickup, it's super tubular. Beautiful. When you go to the bridge, it just is yelly and yelly. It's yelly and it just sounds like someone's yelling at you. It's like an angry woman. Or maybe that's a cat. I don't know, but it's something, you know? Eric called it woman tone. It's just a rockin', animalistic cry, you know? It's a wail, and it just sounds good. I find it so easy to get that with pedals. With amps, you just gotta really get them cranking. At that point, you're really damaging your hearing. So pedals are great. But the point of today is, how great does the Kemper capture pedals? So let's get right into that. Here is our experiment. This Pro Reverb I captured in this profile here, N3, at these settings: bright off, volume at 5, treble at 5, bass at 4. Now I captured that profile and it sounds like this. Now those are also the same settings I used on the amplifier when I captured it with this pedal. We called that the Ghost in the Kemper profile pack, but it's on the floor here. It's the Revival drive, and that was the profile of it. So the test here is, does the Kemper, which captured a clean amp, receive the pedal the same way that it sort of profiled it? Is it able to capture it? And how close is that capture going to be to actually running the drive pedal into the Kemper? So let's test it. Here is the drive pedal. Yeah, here's the drive pedal with the clean amplifier profile. Pretty good? Pretty rockin'? Now let's check out the Kemper. Interesting. All right, let's go back and let me try this in a couple different pickup positions to really get it. Here is the clean profile with the pedal running into it, and I'm going to try this on the in-between positions. That's beautifully touch sensitive. It's bright on the top end. Let's see how the Kemper does that also. Wow, that is surprisingly close. Let's try one more pickup position. First with the Kemper, since we've got it here. Now here is the pedal running into the Kemper. I'll tell you what I noticed there. I noticed more compression with the Kemper, and that is something I've found. The Kemper seems to impart a little bit of high-end roll-off and a little bit of extra compression. Specifically, I notice it's compression in sort of the mid-range that it seems to really put on the profiles. Now, I don't find that it's very noticeable with all profiles. Where I actually notice it is when I'm running a lot of gain, specifically when I'm running pedals. This seems to do something to the sound. It seems to do something where the Kemper is maybe experiencing maybe somehow it's reading that there's some compressed thing, but there's also a lot of unnatural uncompression or lack of compression in the tubes that are going. So I'm not sure, maybe that confuses it in some way, but I do know this: if you run very fuzzy pedals into the Kemper, it will mimic the amount of gain, but it will not achieve that spitty level of compression where the diode sort of loses air, it loses gas. It won't do that because the Kemper is designed to capture tube amplifiers, and gained up fuzz pedals get to a level of compression that is just ridiculous. I mean, it compresses the heck out of everything, especially when you get that super spitty sound. So you're not going to get the Kemper to emulate those super spitty fuzzes. Although, maybe they're going to redo the fuzzes and give us some different fuzzes and stuff. I don't know. I don't know. What do I know? But I'm surprised how close this is. Let's try it on the bridge now. Here is the pedal still running into the Kemper. I mean, that's big, that's enjoyable to play. Let's check out the Kemper's version of that. Gosh, that is close. Now, I have to admit something. I made a small change before the video started. I just upped the treble and presence a tiny bit. Just the tiniest bit, 0.5. Because I noticed it had taken off just a little bit of high end. But as soon as I put that back in, I felt like it was right there. I'm experiencing the same thing though. As soon as I go to the single note stuff, I get a little more mid-range compression than I'm getting with the pedal. Honestly, with this profile, it's very enjoyable. I could, maybe though there's got to be other situations where you prefer a little lack of compression. But I think here's the real thing. The pedal is a little more touch sensitive. And what I mean by that is I get the feeling, the pedal feels like you can, let me show you. The pedal feels like it could break up if it wants to. As a player, you can feel all of the variation that it's almost like this exponential curve where if I hit just a tiny bit harder, I get a lot more gain. The pedal in that way is very alive, very hard to sort of wield in a way when you get this much gain. Now, if I lowered the gain on the pedal, I'd have a little more of a usable dynamic range to clean up. We're at a gain level here that's a little difficult to clean up. But I still like, what I mean is we're not going to get all the way clean. We're going to be able to clean it up. It's going to get cleaner, but it's not going to be all the way clean. What I noticed the Kemper does in this situation is a little bit different. I still can get clean, but I always have this little bit of mid push that I just the feel of it to me, and it might be more a feel thing than a sonic thing, the feel is just a little more compressed. And it's not all over. It really is in that mid-range sort of. It doesn't quite sort of have a problem jumping out. Now that's, again, I actually enjoy that quality, but I'm trying to be really, I'm Mr. Kemper on YouTube here. I'm trying to be really like fair in this assessment of does it capture pedals true to the pedal? My assessment here is it captures pedals true to the pedal, but there's just a little difference in this compression in the mids. So depending on the pedal, you're going to notice that more or less. I will tell you this though. I play almost every weekend profiles of the King of Tone going into a Vox AC30. And lately I've been doing an AC10. I'm sure that's it. That captured version of the pedal is just a little bit different. I'm sure that I might notice a little more touch sensitivity or something different about the sound. It might not even be a good thing. I'm sure there's a little bit of difference, but I'm very confident that it's not worth it to bring any more gear. It's not worth it for me to leave the Kemper. I would choose the Kemper 10 times more today than the day I first chose to just play the Kemper live. I don't bring any of these tube amps out of my house. Tube amps I think are wonderful. They're for enjoying at home. I would much rather just take a digital piece of gear like this that I think captures tube amps with a really, really high degree of authenticity. And I would much rather just bring that sound out. I have all my delays in there. I have all my settings in there. It's consistent. It sounds the same day to day, unlike tubes, unlike old vintage pedals. So for me, it's an easy choice. It really is an easy choice. But if we're being really fair, I think there's a little bit decreased level of accuracy when it comes to capturing gained up pedals into the Kemper. It's just a little different. What it requires you to do to be more accurate is just add a little bit of that high end in, and then you gotta understand you're gonna have a little less compression. Now, we could actually get some different results if we start using the loop too, but I just wanted to talk about people running their boards into the front because I think that's a really common use case. I'm gonna do another video shortly where we're gonna do loops versus in the front. Don't worry. Hey dudes, again, like, subscribe, it really helps the algorithm. I've been HW. Thanks so much for watching Tone Junkie TV. HW, out.